1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. There are those who believe that the world we know is not as it seems, that the devil is real, and we are in the middle of an epic war which he is waging against us. A battle between good and evil, fought man to man and soul to soul. Many St. Lucians have got caught up in this supernatural world. For 33 years, one man has fought on the side of good on their behalf. His name is Father Lambert St Rose, and he is the Exorcist.
All of us here today, Christians throughout the world, we hear and follow God's word.
For over 33 years, this man has been a Catholic priest. He has served in nearly every Catholic parish in St. Lucia. The names of the places have been changed to protect the communities. His experience with spiritual warfare spans violent encounters with Satan himself, and according to him, he has seen firsthand and exorcised manifestations which have married the satanic and occult underpinnings of St. Lucian society for the love of money, fame, or protection from criminal prosecution.
You plead for us to the right hand of the Father. Christ have mercy.
Christ have mercy.
His career started off in Solfatara town, but after several brushes with Satan, intermingled with the townspeople, Archbishop Kelvin Felix moved him here to the metropolis of Felicityville.
The first reading is taken from the Acts of the Apostles.
Felicityville started off on a very low frequency. Again, there is always merit in taking people through a very long process before an actual exorcism. Because you've got to be extremely cautious that you do not go tracing demons or chasing demons behind every tree that fluctuates in the wind. There are some cases that are so closely akin to demonic presence that without proper detection or discernment or discerning process, again, you can lead someone down the stream of self-destruction and disbelief. This individual came to me and manifested every possible sign of a demonically possessed individual. Behaved like a cow, moved like a cow, chewed like a cow, was a compulsive eater, and from time and time again would regress into herself, knock out into silence, etc. But I noticed that she had been heavily sedated, and I said, go with her and bring me back when she's not sedated. And even without the sedation, the patterns of behavior were strikingly similar. And after 3 months, I recognized there was something, some kind of dynamics, chemistry going on between the parents who would not leave the room and the individual. And then I said, could you give us at least 15 minutes of privacy? And that was the opening.
The opening to what?
It was not demonic oppression or possession. It was a psychological war going place because there was a high level of ancestral activity between the father and that daughter, and had driven her into her own being so deeply in an effort to cope with a situation of disbelief of what was going on, that others would not believe her. She was forced to mask that behavior and hide within her own self and reveal herself almost in the state of an animal to deflect the behavioral patterns of the father. It is never right or proper that as soon as somebody comes to you, that you start, demon go away, demon go away. Take it easy. Slow down. Journey into the life, the history, the past experiences of the individual. Pigs do not enter a parlor unless you give it permission to enter. So there was I, Saturday morning, the prayer team, we headed to this direction, and it was an eerie feeling. The chickens were littered around the yard, and the dog must have been just lackadaisical. He didn't care who came in, who didn't come, and who went out. That was not his business. You jumped over him, that's fine, go ahead, you know? So we entered this room, and this woman came dressed in thorough rags. Her hair was all over the place, and I greeted her. I was like, "Who the hell cares that you're here anyhow? I didn't send for you." So I made a mistake, and we sprinkled her with holy water. And the next thing I knew, I was somewhere in the next corner of the room.
What do you mean? How did you get there?
There was a force. The force drove me. And instantaneously, the chickens and the cats and the dogs that was moving with some kind of lethargy across the yard were scampering and, in every direction. The dogs were howling. They suddenly got back to life. They woke up. And the ladies who were there praying,
What happened next?
Well, we had to regain our composure, reestablish ourselves, center our spirituality, our focus on prayer, and continue to journey with her. We had to change the strategy. We couldn't just start praying again. We had to journey with her until the end.
How did it end?
She was delivered in the end.
The demon whisperer would soon come face to face with a conundrum of mental illness versus demonic possession.
Do you want me to screen you for an attorney?
No,
You gonna hire your own?
I don't need one. Demonic possession can sometimes mask as mental illness, and
Really
mental illness as demonic possession.
That's correct. And I made reference to that earlier as we spoke about that first case that I had in Felicity Hill.
Yes. So there was this famous story in Bay of Ray, if I remember correctly, where a murder took place. Man bashed another man with a rock and ate part of the person's brain. Demonic possession, mental illness.
It wasn't mental illness. Again, that created quite a storm because it came almost soon after that incident with the dog. And of course, priests were chastised for taking anybody and everybody as godparents. And it was alleged that this grandmother, who was supposed to be this guy's mother, had stolen his baptism. I'm sure you may have heard the saying in St. Lucia, "Yo vole baptême li, maudit."
What does that even
In
mean?
other words, whatever grace that should have gone to that person's soul never got there. Through demonic means or whatever it is, you obstructed this and have planted something demonic into the soul of that individual. And so they can manipulate this individual in any way that they really want to. And so the talk about the tongue was, Mauliva qui point lamli. Like some people say, point la qui pa kagade ki moun yo ka point, pour nenen et puis pa ouais. Si madame la pa te volé lam, ti boy la iba de faire ça.
Once again, Father St. Rose was uprooted and moved to Bay of Rey and Pottsville. For the first time, the priest would be heading his own 2 parishes.
Running in between the 2 parishes, you would leave one very late in the night to return to your place of residence. I noticed every evening this dog would religiously stray across the road from that particular point. Never bothered me. And one night I was driving home with somebody, and I said to the individual, that dog, I used the B word, is always straying across that road at the time that I'm passing. And the person said, well, why would you address a young girl by that word, with the B word? And I said, a young girl? She said, yes, it is a young girl that just walked across the road. I said, no, it's a dog. She said, but it's a young girl. And we argued until we reached there, and she saw it was a dog for true. So I got out of the car, and I chastised the dog, and I said, the next time I'm going to break your waist. Because if you can appear as a young girl, it means you're not a dog, so I'm going to break you up. My skin was covered with goosebumps. My hair was on end, and I paid no attention. And the individual chastised me until I got home and thought that I was a fool.
But some would say that you were seeing things. Some would say that you were so acculturized in being the ghost whisperer that everything now is
Ghost.
exactly.
So the next night I got back to the place. I was celebrating Mass, and I was relating the incident to the congregation. And this individual got up, crawled through the benches, went out, and started cursing. And there was a young lady at the end of the church at the door, and then whatever the woman said, she responded, Silani zeb en jardin sepe, sau planté récolté. So I asked, what's wrong? She said, this woman's quarreling, and she said you were casting remarks at her. White news went through, and everybody hostage in the house that night. I never saw a dog on the road again.
Pottsville is infamously known as Forgotten Boundaries. Successive governments have failed the people. There is one main church and thousands of parishioners. The neophyte would get a scary awakening on his honeymoon.
Having my honeymoon in the middle of the night when the telephone rang. And I was summoned to come to Sulphur Town again. And we said, woman, it's midnight. No, the answer is no, definitely no. Could we put this off until tomorrow? And of course, I was hoping that it would have been about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. But at 7 a.m., Harris was at my door. And again, I was petrified. Because though he carried human limbs, but the features was that of a wild beast. Horrified, horrible looking. And I panicked. Because I'm new to Pottsville. I haven't got a prayer group team around me. I'm in no way prepared to deal with this situation. So I said, guy, do me a favor. Go down the stairs and sit in the church for me, please, and wait there. I sat in this presbytery and I sweat. I prayed. And I asked God, what on earth are you doing to me? God had some strength, and I went down there with the intention of just an interview with the guy. Ask him to go home and come back sometime later. And the safest place, I thought, would have been in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. So we sat him down side by side, and we started to talk. And the moment I sprinkled him with some holy water, the guy manifested. And I thought I was looking down into the abdomen of a lion. I saw right through his stomach. His eyes were glaring. And it was the epitome of a lion staring me in the face. And he got under the pews. How did he do it? I don't know. But you can see the size of the pews here. He got under this, and they were all tied together, bolted together. And he moved these things like a rattle, up and down. By that time, I was standing near the entrance of the church.
You ran?
Yes, I did. My knees were like jellyfish. And the sound of the rattling pews reverberated right through Pottsville. The schools emptied out, the village emptied out, and everybody converged on the church. That was my second worry. Because if something had moved away from him, the children and the people would have been vulnerable. They would have been exposed to this. A few strong men came in and subdued the guy, while some older women came in and went before the Blessed Sacrament, and we took him into the sacristy to try and pray with him so as to tame him down. And gosh, it was the bile that came out of his stomach had men running for shelter, people holding their nose, you know. But we prayed and did prayers of deliverance over him, and it calmed him down. But we knew that it was not over. We sent him away and had him to come back periodically.
Coming up, 17 people died. One was never found. What does this priest know?
Every once in a while, a company will appear on the scene with a fresh perspective, a burst of adrenaline, and a passion for excellence. Its humble beginnings are steeped in social transformation. Last to enter the arena, it changes the status quo, and the game will never be the same again. The independent film company appeared on the scene when the commercial sector needed it most. Its metamorphosis blossomed with the production of the most creative television commercials in St. Lucia, and they do it all absolutely free. From marketing concepts, surveys and research, to professionally produced ads for social media and television, and the most engaging documentaries in the English-speaking Caribbean. With heavy investments in technology and a focus on building the technical and service capacity of its nimble team, it prides itself on being the little company that could. The Independent Film Company Incorporated, changing yesterday's game, rewriting today's roles, and charting the way for multimedia production here, now, and beyond. Where most people see a window, we see a vision. We see the hours of development and testing, from the precision of craftsmen, quality of components, CNC processing to form immaculate all-glass products, the dedication of people who stand behind a product built to last a lifetime. And who knows, maybe after today, every time you look through one, you'll remember everything that went into it. St. Lou means windows, doors and all-glass products, and customization of modular products to suit your needs. Precision, quality, safety. They're your windows and your world. Call us today at 454-6538.
I watched him on the bed, knowing a man who has worked his entire life, can't afford the cost of his surgery or medication. Mom and I must sell barbecue tickets to help save his life. For less than $4 a day, the cost of a packet of gum, my dad could have been airlifted to get treatment. Some adults can be so insensitive with their lack of foresight. Now, Mom and I either have to watch him wither away or sell a whole lot more barbecue. Why? Because one person didn't care enough to plan.
GTM Medical Insurance. Less than $4 a day for the greatest peace of mind anyone could ask for. Call us today, 458-6300.
You know how firmly we believe in you and dedicate ourselves to you.
And I do not want you to convince me into forgiving anyone.
By now, the priest was well into his 40s. The rigors of life, the constant battle with Satan's minions, and his pastoral duties were taking a toll on his physical.
Were there attacks on you by demons?
I would say yes, but they were very subtle.
Like?
I remember I went into a particular parish, and it was 6 p.m. on the dot. The Angelus had just rang. And this woman, whom I had dreamt of previously, the previous night, appeared in my office, dressed exactly as I saw her in the dream. Everything matched to a T. And she said to me, I'm the mother of the parish. And anything that you want to do in this parish, you will have to consult me first.
I thought you were the parish priest.
I excused her imprudence and I said, okay, it's time to get to church. A Sunday morning, at Prayers of the Faithful, I saw this individual walking up to the sanctuary. And I sent someone to stop her. She tempted again at the notices, and I did the same. At the end of Mass, she cautioned me. That only she can do things the way it should be done. And my words to her, you've got a prayer intention, send it in on a Thursday evening by 3:30. You've got a notice to be read out, send it in by 3:30 on a Thursday afternoon. The secretary would have it put into the notices or in its respective places. And the words was, you don't know who you're playing with. I took in ill, and the report was she poisoned the mic. And I dismissed it. But the truth is, again, when I got into this parish, I went on a roller coaster tour from one end of the parish to the next to revive the parish through evangelization.
And it's so beautiful to know that you do not have to leave the Catholic Church to start repenting. You do not have to go in search of anything else. Jesus is already among you. You just have to recognize him and touch him and reach out to him, and he will reach back out to you. Amen? Jesus is nowhere in any mountain, under any hill, under any sea. Jesus is already available.
Within a matter of months, I had no space in church to hold one Mass. I had to have 2 Masses. And the collection, which was measly, had grown out of proportion. But this individual was determined for my demise. This individual, whenever she comes to me, is, Father, tout le monde dit moi qu'engagé. The last time I asked, ils sont conscients ce qu'abat, oui, moi. You know? And to the extent that the individual one day stood up in church and met everybody and said, Masa puchi puetsa paka just tobek bo. I noticed that one pattern is for the last 30 years, every time I get sick and every time I get hospitalized, is during the Holy Week. And it happened the same year I was ordained as a deacon in 1981.
That the Master is revealing or sharing.
And there are a few years in between I escape, but usually for Holy Week I'm in a hospital. And last year was the worst. And that morning, Easter Monday morning, In all my pain and anguish, I appealed to my deceased mother and I said, go to Jesus for me. Tell him what I am enduring and ask him if the two of you could lay hands on my stomach and heal me, if God's will. I said this prayer 3 times, and like something ripped something out of my stomach. And I looked at my side. Only plain water flowed through my body. No more blood. And I had been bleeding internally for well over 3 weeks.
The Praise and Worship Tabernacle International Church says witchcraft, which involves the use of uncanny powers to inflict pain and even death on victims, is becoming more and more rampant in St. Lucia.
You can have a business and a witchcraft doctor can work against your business where customers will not come. And we've dealt with a number of cases like that.
A young man from Denry accused a close family member of working witchcraft in a malicious attempt to kill him, his girlfriend, and their 9-month-old baby boy. The young man, who admits to himself having sought what he calls medicine from an individual whom he describes as a Haitian doctor, says he became more suspicious when he discovered 7 black and white seeds in his baby's stool.
There are incidents that have happened in St. Lucia over the years that we've whispered that it might be the occult, but nothing has been ever proven. So, for example, the missing baby, 7-month-old baby. Did you hear about that? And what was your take?
Growing up as a kid in St. Lucia, every time election comes around, there is always the story of a missing baby. There is always the story of some creature drinking sheep blood. There is always some kind of suspicious occurrences taking place.
Crime Chief Vernon Foswa says police doubt 3-year-old Deshaun Justin Johnny is still at the Fordor Heritage Park. The toddler vanished a week ago Thursday during a public activity. On Wednesday, the police conducted an exhaustive search and rescue operation to recover the missing child. Despite the extensive hunt, the whereabouts of the little boy are still unknown.
We have actually started that process, interviewing all of the people, particularly the adults who were present during the picnic at Fordor on the day that the child allegedly disappeared.
There have been talk about the mutilated bodies of children with missing parts, particularly the tongue, the eyes, the ears, the pubic region, etc., etc. And it has always been alluded to the fact that it is used for demonic purposes. It was not until Gina, Harrier, and Evita told the alarming story of what transpired during that so-called Monsignor incident that I was able to piece the pieces together.
15 people are reportedly dead as a result of a tragic accident involving a minibus traveling in the Monsignor area in Choiseul.
The kind of human sacrifice, the mutilation of the body, the eating of human parts, the drinking of the blood, the offering of sacrifices, and so forth. You know? That was the only time that we understood exactly what was going on. A politician once said to me, and I took it just by the way, when he did say it, was, when you are vying for power, if you have to sleep with the devil, and that's what it is, you have got to take it.
This is not the sign of no, like anybody come and destroy them. Like that is an evil.
The perpetrators reportedly pierced a hole through the head of every chicken and left with the head and heart of one. There were no signs of forced entry, and the farmer is convinced that it was part of some witchcraft ritual.
Hey, stop it.
That's what I'm here for.
For over 138 years, we've had your back. From home contents to medical, auto to business continuity. GTM Insurance. Sound, solid, and reliable. Where most people see a window, we see a vision. We see the hours of development and testing, from the precision of craftsmen, quality of components, CNC processing to form immaculate all-glass products, the dedication of people who stand behind a product built to last a lifetime. And who knows, maybe after today, every time you look through one, you'll remember everything that went into it. St. Lou means windows, doors, and all-glass products, and customization of modular products to suit your needs. Precision, quality, safety. They're your windows and your world. Call us today at 454-6538.
What is a black mass?
You've got a Catholic Mass, which starts with the introductory rite, the penitential rite, the Gloria, the opening prayer or the collect, and then the liturgy of the word, a homily or sermon, or not a serpent, and then the creed. Either the Apostolic Creed or the Nicene Creed, and then you go into the liturgy of the Eucharist. the collection, etc., the consecration, the communion, and then the Lord's Prayer, the dismissal, etc. A demonic mass is said in reverse of the Catholic Mass, beginning with the end and going back to the beginning.
In nomine de nostris Satanas Luciferi excelsi. In the name of Satan, ruler of the earth, king of the world, I command the forces of darkness bestow their infernal power upon us.
They do not pray. They would curse during that Mass. And oftentimes you've heard people carrying away the Eucharist. When you think they swallowed it, they carried away in a handkerchief or something. During that consecration, instead of eating or drinking the body and blood of Christ, they would either defecate, urinate, create a stampede, or stamp on this Eucharist to be able to placate Satan, to make him happy that they're desecrating Christ, because they recognize that Christ is present, body, soul, and divinity. In the place of the prayers of the faithful, they would be hurling curses and abuses and bewitches and hexes on people who are not of their cult, etc. During the consecration, that's the time when they'll be butchering the babies, chopping them up, eating them, and drinking the blood. As it were, we receive the Christian communion. But all is done in the name of Satan.
And that happens here in St. Lucia.
And this is the story of people who have come out of the cult, relating the nightmare that they have experienced in here. There are conventions taking place all the time.
Witches' conventions.
Witches' convention.
We hear this and we laugh. Witches' conference in St. Lucia. Not here in St. Lucia. Never. You are saying that is 100% true.
That is taking place in St. Lucia. Halloween weekends, Holy Week, Christmas time are the times that they gather for it. Every feast that is closely related to a particular high point of the life of Christ.
Father, some people will watch this and think, this is hocus pocus stuff. This is science nonsense. Where does priests get all this nonsense from? That isn't happening in St. Lucia. That is something that he saw on television, and he's getting old and losing his mind.
I really wished it was.
Tell me your name! Hear, therefore, and fear, Satan, enemy of the faith. Give me your name, demon! Names! Names! Ancient serpents, depart from this servant of God! Tell me your 6 names! We are the ones who dwell within.
New Shoshohen, Batokai, Queen, Hobby Tobbit, and Roy, Tesa Parothin, and Udai, Miklingyo, Anablio! And I am Lucifer, the devil in the flesh.
How close is The Exorcist, the film, to the life you lived doing all of these exorcisms? Similar?
I would say, yeah. I just don't want to experience another Harris. And I do not want to experience another Harrier, Evita, and Gina. I don't. And in fact, I do not have the strength to undertake them anymore.
We've all heard of holy books, but what about unholy ones? Perhaps the Devil's Bible? Codex Gigas literally translates as giant book, and is an appropriate name for this Roman Catholic Bible that measures almost 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and 1 foot thick. Made from leather vellum pages with a wooden cover, it weighs over 165 pounds. At 800 years old, it's earned a place in history for its gigantic size, mysteries surrounding it, and this creepy full-page illustration of the devil, which gives the book its nickname, the Devil's Bible. This faces opposite a full-page image of the kingdom of heaven and symbolizes the contrast of good versus evil. It appears to be written in the handwriting of just one single scribe, likely a Benedictine monk named Herman the Recluse, and it's estimated it would have taken over 20 years to complete. What's unexpected about this is that the handwriting style is incredibly consistent from start to finish and does not reflect any of the expected variances in styles caused by mood, illness, or aging. Legend has it that Herman the Recluse broke his monastic vows and was sentenced to be walled up alive. In a plea bargain to save his life, he promised to bring glory to the monastery forever by creating a wonderful book containing all human knowledge. As the night wore on and he wrestled with the hopelessness of his task, he prayed in desperation to the devil for help, who agreed to complete the codex in exchange for having his image included. Some believe that the codex is forever cursed to bring disaster and illness to those who possess it. Could this really be a demonic version of the Bible?
Life is a series of triumphs and trials. The circle of life has all the usual certainties and, of course, the unpredictable. Just one can affect you and your loved ones. Sadly, many fail to prepare for the unforeseen. Thankfully, we've been here for over 138 years, helping you plan and recover. We offer peace of mind at that critical moment. GTM Insurance. Sound, solid, and reliable. Call us today at 458-6300 or log on to gtminsurance.net. Where most people see a window, we see a vision. We see the hours of development and testing, from the precision of craftsmen, quality of components, CNC processing to form immaculate all-glass products, the dedication of people who stand behind a product built to last a lifetime. And who knows, maybe after today, every time you look through one, you'll remember everything that went into it. St. Lou means windows, doors, and all-glass products and customization of modular products to suit your needs. Precision, quality, safety. They're your windows and your world. Call us today at 454-6538.
I watched him on the bed, knowing a man who has worked his entire life, can't afford the cost of his surgery or medication. Mom and I must sell barbecue tickets to help save his life. For less than $4 a day, the cost of a packet of gum, my dad could have been airlifted to get treatment. Some adults can be so insensitive with their lack of foresight. Now, Mom and I either have to watch him wither away or sell a whole lot more barbecue. Why? Because one person didn't care enough to plan.
GTM Medical Insurance. Less than $4 a day for the greatest peace of mind anyone could ask for. Call us today, 458-6300.
actually the owner of the company where we are. Top thing, I tell you, top thing.
By sending down your spirit upon them like the dewfall, so that they become for us the body and blood of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. At the time he was betrayed and entered willingly into his passion, he took bread and giving thanks, broke it, gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take this, all of you, and eat it, for this is my body, which will be given up for you."
Was there ever a case that came to you from the onset you knew was fake?
You cannot know it's fake unless you have journeyed with the person. You cannot presume either innocence or guilt by looking at someone. Because someone could fake could fake a story. They can fake, or it can mask itself under the guise of some kind of disturbance or something of that sort. And that you need to be particularly careful of. And I think, as you made allusion to your questionnaire, to the 1614 rite of exorcism, these are some of the precautionary measures that the ritual, or the, how you call it, ask the necessary exorcism to undertake, precautionary measures. You do not just rush into. People come to you expecting a hocus pocus magic kind of thing instantly. They do not want to leave if something is not done immediately. But you can't.
What would be the normal procedure before an exorcism is done?
The priest has to be sure that he's been to confession, do the necessary penance, sacrifices, fasting, praying, and he's got to prepare himself spiritually. The victim also has to be prepared. Family needs to be prepared as well. You just don't bulge into something like this. There must be spiritual preparation on every side. And even the prayer team who's going to be doing that exorcism with you has to be spiritually prepared as well.
During an exorcism, what is the purpose of asking the demon to name itself?
You only have power over what you know. You must know the demon's name, so as to be able to address him directly, or it directly, and command it to take leave of the person's life.
How does one invite a demon into their life? Or what do people do that attract demons? Or can it happen to a random person?
No. If you are a deep spiritual person, if you're a very prayerful person, if Christ is the center of your life, it's impossible for a demon to enter into you. They may create a stampede around you, but they cannot overwhelm you. Remember the words of Wisdom 3, 1-9. The soul of the virtuous are in the hands of God, and no torment shall ever touch them. Sin and reckless living, however, can open a door to infiltration of the devil.
To some, this collection of stories resonates as the gospel truth. To others, it's pure fiction, the work of an overactive spiritual imagination mixed with old wives' tales. The Bible has provided a collage of text to support Father St. Rose's experiences. St. Lucians have witnessed a litany of occurrences aligned to the occult. The disappearance of baby Brad from Soufrière, the kid who vanished into thin air at the Four-Door Park, the infamous true story of Malfini in 1901, when a Moshi boy was kidnapped and his body parts used in a demonic ritual, the laughable frog with the summons outside the High Court, and of course, the infamous Monsignor tragedy. The line between good and evil is permeable, and almost anyone can be induced to cross it when pressured by situational forces. For those navigating these turbulent waters, The Exorcist has one parting verse.
Can we not live only for Christ? The devil could only lead us to destruction, as Jesus himself so rightly said, I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. The devil comes only to steal, to kill, and to destroy. John chapter 10, verse 10.
My cup is full to the brim. I could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been told. Could go on and on, the full has never been.